Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. It's the second episode of our brand new season 6 season. And we are very excited to be here, and we're very excited to have you joining us. We're live right now. We're on YouTube, live on YouTube right now. But there's a chance you're not watching this live, and that's okay. You know, you might be seeing this on uploadvr.com because we are official Upload VR correspondents. Me and Skiva, by the way. Hey, Skiva.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How you doing?
I'm fantastic. What a sick week for VR. I'm so stoked for this show.
It's been a really awesome week, man.
It's been great.
A really awesome week. Yep. Yes. And, you know, as I was saying, Upload is cool, and we're a part of them. So you might be seeing this on Upload. You might also be watching on Spotify or Anchor, or listening on Spotify or Anchor, or iTunes or whatever.
Podcasts.
You know, and if you're one of those audio listeners, thanks, because you're one of the dedicated folks, you know, and granted, so are our live audience, right? They're here, they're watching the video, but to watch our primarily video podcast and listen to it as an audio version, I would say would take an extra little amount of effort. So if you're doing that,
absolutely,
thank you.
And please, you know, on your platform of choice, if you could subscribe, like, you know, if you so see inclined, that would really help us out.
If you could just do that, please, that would be so. Hello, chat. Thank you for being here. It's always great to have you guys with us, and I've got Indie VR there in my as my
what's
first,
up? That's surgical.
That's surgical gaming, Indie VR.
Yep.
Right on. That's right.
Yeah.
That is right. Mike Newton, The Weekend.
Weekend.
Damn right, Mike Newton. You are damn right, Q Creator, dude. Good to see you. Anna Katharina. Hey, Anna.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. Andy's VR reviews in the house, and Virtual Steve also in the house.
What's
homies. VR with Jasmine.
Hey, Jazz.
She got the COVID booster yesterday, and she's been having some body aches and headaches since last night.
Oh, sorry, bud. Hang in there. It'll be gone soon.
Mm-hmm. She's bedridden. I remember when I got the first vaccine, this shit.
Yeah, you know, Jasmine is one of the crew that is always hitting every single VR expo with us. She's just working it. She's doing phenomenal. Her channel is super sick. So if you can go over to VR with Jasmine and subscribe, check out her videos, and absolutely incredible content.
Do that. Go do that right now, except not right now. Stay with us. You can like middle click, you know, get the extra tab going. Perhaps.
There you go.
Glitch Fandango's here. What's up, man?
Hey, Glitch.
Thanks for burning the midnight oil with us.
Yeah.
Reese DeKing. Oh,
Reese,
what's up, buddy?
The homie.
We like that. QUIKCOSPLAY's here. QUIKCOSPLAY's driving. So
be careful.
Yeah, and no just texting
listen.
and driving, please. Thank you. Hey, it's Roy Boy. What's up? Roy Boy's chilling.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, we got Space Denizen chilling.
Hey, Void Citizen. What's up?
Snow Toads in the house.
Yo.
Cesar Suarez.
Hello there.
Hello, Cesar. Thank you for joining us. Tribe Grey Wolf. Oh, what's up,
what's
bro?
up, Tribe?
Thanks for being here, man. Wrestle VR in the house with, holy crap, a insanely fatty super chat.
Oh,
are you seeing this?
Oh, no.
It's a super fatty super chat of $50.
What?
This is gonna be a good show. $50.
Thank you.
I almost hit the air horn 50 times.
Let's not do that.
Insanely generous.
Thank you so much. Dude.
Thank you very much for that. And he's not the only one, dude. We've also got Reese DeKing with a super chat as well.
Oh, what's up?
And he says, and by the way, this is $17.99 in pounds. And
sweet.
It says, let's start the show with the donation. One of the best VR channels out there. Also, you have my vote for the what? We'll talk about that in just a minute. Woo! Oh, man, we're off to a good start today. I've got some coffee. We got super chats coming in. We've got the whole tribe, Grey Wolf, and others included. ROTU Entertainment. Hey, what are you doing here, ROTU Entertainment? Oh,
who dat?
I don't know. Jason Parks. Who that? What are you doing here too? I don't know. Just wait a second.
Heck yeah.
Charles Logan in the house. ROTU Power. Yes. Dude.
Hello all.
We are feeling the ROTU Power indeed. That's Rhythm of the Universe, by the way. All right, for those who want to know their acronym. So thanks for being here, Hussein X.
Hey, what's up, Hussein?
Oh, is that Obscure Nerd VR? It's Andy. Yep, he's the dude. And CreeperBetty. Hey,
what's
CreeperBetty.
up?
Thanks for joining us.
How's it going?
So before we go too much further, I'm going to drink some coffee.
Sweet. I hope it's in that wonderful Neos mug.
Hey,
nice choice.
This is a Neos mug. Man, they should be paying you for me to be drinking out. And also, before we go any further, Tribe Grey Wolf. Yeah, this is my Demio shirt. It's Demio. I like that game. And they gave this to me at PAX. They had a whole box of t-shirts, and we were lucky enough to snag a couple of them.
Heck yeah.
And I knew I needed to wear it on the show today because it's insanely dope. Like, look at it.
Heck yeah.
It's great. Thanks for noticing, Tribe. Okay, so we've all got our coffee. We've all got our people. We've all got Neos and Demio. And we are lacking our guest. So we kind of were messing around in the chat already. We saw ROTU Entertainment's here. You guys have read the title of the video, so you know who's joining us. The newest game from ROTU Entertainment is Eolia. It's a hand tracking experience. It's super beautiful, and we actually just recorded an episode of Backseat VR Developer with this guy, but I guess we'll just talk a little bit more about that after we bring him on. Please, everybody, welcome to Between Realities, CEO of ROTU Entertainment. It's Jason Parks.
Hey!
Boom.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for coming. Thank you for coming. You are, we had all met at PAX, and we got to demo your game there, your newest game. We hung out afterwards and had some cocktails together, and like really kind of started to get to know each other and your journey through virtual reality. So we're excited to get into that today and chat with you. So thanks for coming.
But I know you're not forgetting about our meeting at GDC, right, Jason Parks? Because that's where we first really met and had the opportunity to cross paths.
That was a quickie, stick a camera in your face, do an interview, and run.
Yes, it was.
I knew I liked you guys ever since that point, and I think we really secured a friendship with Killer Queen. That's when I really felt a bond happen. That was an epic night.
Yeah, and it's funny how you can bond with your opponents.
Yeah,
because I don't remember being on the same team as Mr. Jason Parks.
I remember hearing the excitement and the defeat, and it really, it creates respect for each other, right? You gotta play games to really learn about each other.
For anyone
that was a fun night, and of course GDC, PAX West, and I'm sure many more conferences. We'll be having a lot of fun together.
Yeah, and Killer Queen, for anyone that doesn't know, is a set of 2 arcade machines, 5 players on each machine, and those 2 machines battle against each other with a game that you have 3 different ways to win. It's super competitive. It really riles everyone up, and it's super fun. So if you're ever in a place that has those and you can get enough people together to play, you'll have the time of your life.
Listen, people, if Skiva is giving a rave review to anything that's not a VR game,
I know, right?
You should probably listen, because he doesn't give rave reviews to anything anymore.
Yeah, it's not VR. That's not happening.
Yeah,
so
I feel the same way.
Yeah, Killer Queen is really, really good, and this is not a Killer Queen podcast, but it easily could be because I love that game so much.
It's so good.
It's really it all boils down to that after party at the expo. You know what I mean? Like that really is where so much magic happens when it comes to going to these events, just meeting up at the nearby bar, playing a few games, having a few drinks, and that's where you get to know each other,
It is. It's hard to really get to chat when you have a line of people and you're at a booth and you're trying to manage all the people that want to play your game and stuff, right? So it's hard for everyone to really chat and get to know each other. And that's why after parties at these events are the most important part, because you get to network with all your fellow people and you get to really get to know each other and form those relationships. And it's great. So meet your tribe, hang out, good stuff.
It is.
So let's talk about the important news, guys. I think you got something to tell everybody.
Okay. I guess so, right? So, we should just be the third member of our show. That was amazing. I'm usually the one that has to handle these kinds of transitions. That was glorious. We have big news. So today on Twitter is where I saw the news break. The VR Awards Content Creator of the Year finalists were announced, and guess who was among them?
Who? Tell me. I can't wait.
Your boys, Between Realities.
Hey!
Finalists in this year's VR Awards 2022 Content Creator of the Year. And we did not expect it, to be completely honest.
No.
You know, like we were nominated last year for social influencer of the year, and I think they've like kind of split content creator and social impact into 2 separate categories for this. But you know, when they were announcing finalists for everything, we didn't really see a VR content creator thing, you know, so we were like, okay, well, that's not going to happen, and that's that. You know, it was nice to be nominated last year, really cool and whatever. But while we were at, can we say when this happened?
Yeah.
While we were at PAX, we got news that this was the case, and it was kind of a shock for us, and a very awesome and exciting moment.
Yeah, it's great because you don't, you know, our chances of winning are slim to none. But that's not the point of this whole thing, right? It's to be, you know, it's nice. It's always nice to be recognized when you put so much hard work into something, right? And to be put on the same stage as like, you know, Thrill Seeker and Nathy and Kaz and Sherry and like all the people that are nominated for this, Gamer Tag. It's just, it's like, oh, it just takes my breath away, man. It really does. Like I'm just so honored just to be a part and to be, you know, it's great. It's just great.
Well, because like, you know, when you're in the bubble, it's like, you know, we're not able to perceive ourselves from outside the bubble. You know what I mean? Like we're in here and we're just like doing our thing and kind of like keeping our nose to the grindstone, so to speak. So to be recognized as someone who's doing something in the space is like, kind of shocking and like a little like surreal most of the time, you know, but absolutely welcomed and like definitely worth enjoying and celebrating in my opinion. So and this it's funny, right? Because we were talking before the show. So we are nominated for this for Content Creator of the Year VR Awards 2022, but also the companies we work for have also been nominated. Right, so I work for Vertigo Games, as you guys know, and After the Fall was nominated I said who I'm working for yet?
Game of the Year
Publicly.
Oh, I don't think so. Okay, so we'll just say that your company is nominated, right? So you're working for an awesome company that is held in high regards. You know, the game that my company made, Vertigo Games, After the Fall, has been nominated. So it's just wild. It's wild to be in this space and to have infiltrated the industry.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It really is.
Great.
It is amazing. Yes, and I am very grateful. And it looks like I'm going to be there in person. We're making sure that Skiva's also going to be there.
We're trying. We got to get to the Netherlands. We want to try to, you don't have to, right? But we want to try to get to the Netherlands for this red carpet event, get in some tuxedos, you know, network with all the people that are best in their, you know, and, you know, recognized as being best in their,
so Reese in the chat, I really appreciate, and you know, Jason, you kind of mentioned this too a little bit, you know, before the show started. You're like, hey, you know, you guys, you could do it, you know, and like Reese is here saying, hey, you know, your guys' chance to win is a lot better than you think. You boys do so much for the VR, VR and its community. Thank you. Like that's so sweet and amazing for you to say, but also we did the math. Okay? And like, and this is no joke. If 100% of our subscriber base voted for us, every single one of you, and 0.1% of Thrill Seekers does, 0.1% of his does, he wins. Okay. It's mathematically an impossibility.
But it doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It does not hurt us to know that this is not going. We're not going to win this.
Yeah, we don't need to. The fact of just being recognized is amazing, and just to be, like we said, on the stage with those amazing people, you know, they're doing so much to move this industry forward. We're just honored.
Yeah, we really are. So thanks for bringing that up, Jason.
Maybe we should we play our video that we kind of made for AIXR and the VR Awards?
Let's do that.
I don't know if we're supposed to, but maybe we'll play it for you anyway.
Yeah, whatever. This is for the Between Realities audience. Yeah,
all right.
This is a little something we slapped together for our nomination acceptance.
All right, let's see if I can find it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alex VR.
And I'm Skiva.
And we are Between Realities. We can't tell you how honored we are to be nominated as finalists for VR Content Creator of the Year in these 2022 VR Awards.
Thank you so much to AIXR for including us alongside the creators that we love and respect in this category. The VR community often feels like one big family, and we couldn't be more proud to represent virtual reality alongside all of them.
We started the Between Realities VR podcast in early 2020, and since then we've been floored by the response that we've gotten from our passionate audience. We've had over 100 incredible guests from throughout the world of VR, including developers, content creators, and everything in between. This platform has also afforded us the opportunity to attend in-person events and create exclusive and intimate coverage, providing a window into the VR industry in a way that we are very grateful to be able to do.
We're also the first creators to be accepted into Upload VR's correspondent program and have been able to represent VR's largest news source in a multitude of ways, including our new show on Upload VR, Backseat VR Developer. This brand new format combines real-time gameplay footage with active developer commentary, giving a look into the mind of a VR developer as we experience their game together.
The Between Realities VR podcast is currently in its 6th season. New episodes premiere live on Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific on YouTube, and we would love to invite you all to come and participate in some of these real conversations that we're having with some of VR's most influential people.
Thank you again, AIXR, and the VR Awards for honoring us with this nomination. We truly love this community and will continue to represent virtual reality in the best possible way we can. And while we'd love your vote, at the end of the day, every single creator who's been nominated is deserving of this award. And a vote for any of us is a vote for all of us.
We're Between Realities. Thank you again, and best of luck to all of our fellow nominees. If I could drop this mic, I would. How was it, Jason? Were you touched and inspired by that?
I was touched and inspired, and I still think you have a chance, even though you think it's mathematically impossible. I think the chat agrees with me. You know, you have a, let's say you're right, but maybe less than 1% even votes for Thrill Seeker. Let's say you double down on the amount of viewers you have by the time the voting ends. Who knows what happens? You have a chance. You guys are awesome. I'm rooting for you.
My heart is overflowing.
Yes.
That's just too good. Well,
thank you guys. Thank all you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. I hope you know that we don't say that out of any lack of confidence.
Right.
But I have too much of that. I think.
But at the same time, it really doesn't matter. Like every single person that's doing this is amazing, and their passion is what's driving them forward. Their passion to move this industry forward is pushing them to be nominated for these incredible things because they are doing awesome things. And we're here to support the community. We're here to support them, and we're here to support VR and move it forward. So we all win from all of this.
And I know that this is resonating with you, Jason, because I mean, like, you know, we've met a lot of people in the space, and not every single interaction that I have with someone leaves me feeling like the guy who I just interacted with or girl or whatever, and I just interacted with is like cut from the same cloth. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there are people involved who are involved because it makes sense because of one thing or another. But like there are those of us who put on headsets and had our lives change in a single blink of an eye. And you are that guy, aren't you?
Absolutely. I saw the whale go by in the blue, put an HTC Vive on, and it was one of our associates with ROTU had just bought the HTC, pre-ordered it, got it one of the first days. When I saw that whale go by, I was like, oh, this is what we're doing with the rest of our lives. That was amazing. Anybody who hasn't tried 6DoF VR will have their mind blown, right? Like I've never met someone who's put it on and said that's not impressive, right? Have you? I mean, some might be scared of it, some people might feel sick from it, but nobody says it's not impressive. It's incredible. And what the content community, the media community, and all of us who are collectively working in VR, what we've done in the past 6 years? Well, how long has it been? Roughly, right? It's pretty incredible, right? How far we've gone, the amount of content that's out there, the amount of solutions we've had for all of the problems we were dealing with in the beginning. I mean, I'm right there with you. You know, we are cut from the same cloth. Yeah, VR is most certainly a thing and will continue to be so.
Dude, that says ROTU Entertainment, and it's driving me crazy.
It does.
On Jason's right here. You see that? All right. we gotta change that to a ROTU.
Will I go a show without getting fired? I get fired like every single show.
Probably not,
because I do something dumb.
This is ridiculous. I got a job opening here. Anybody want to be an instant VR content creator of the year? You can get it done.
What's the streaming service that sounds like ROTU?
Roku.
We get at ROTU, we get an email from someone who's upset with their Roku service probably once a month. So it's not, it's an easy mistake.
That's amazing.
Man. Yeah,
So-
that's just fat fingers,
So I want to focus more on that moment that you had where your mind was blown. But first, before we take it back, I want to kind of like bring us into the present, like where we're at today and where you're at today with ROTU Entertainment and Eolia, right? This game just came out, right? And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, this is a brand new, super visually stunning, engaging gameplay, hand tracking experience. And tell us, Jason, how has the reception been so far?
Humbling. We are so happy that people are recognizing the game for what we made it to be, which was first and foremost a hands-first VR adventure. The first time that you can traverse miles and miles of gameplay level with your hands and on a mount, right? That was the number one focus, is like, let's get hand tracking away from being forced to be in a centered area with tables around you with things to do, right? Let's figure out how to get rid of the controllers and make it intuitive, almost even better, to explore a world without those controllers. And that has most certainly been an overwhelming level of acceptance that we've heard from our users, our community, and we're very excited that that was explored. And ultimately, we can't wait for people to find all the Easter eggs in the game, to dive more into the lore of what Rhythm of the Universe is, and ultimately, we want to just keep growing this community and really showing people exactly what we're doing with hand tracking.
Right. Now, Rhythm of the Universe, I mean, anybody who's perceptive can kind of start to pick up like this idea of this like musicality that kind of like, ebbs through your guys' titles. And I know that Eolia is really no different from your previous games with like that influence of music. So music is very much like an important aspect of the Eolia adventure, right?
Absolutely. Where when you think music, almost every other game and VR game it does rhythm, right? Some rhythm bass or some tapping bass, something to do with this very narrow window of what music actually is. For us, in terms of the lore, our first game, IONIA, which is over here, which is
strategically placed behind you,
VR platforms. Sorry,
strategically placed behind you.
Right here, exactly. The only reason Eolia is not in here is because I just didn't have enough room. But where other games, like I mentioned, focus on rhythm, we focus on taking music theory, note names, instrument names, everything that encompasses music as a musician, and we turn that into lands, people, ecosystems, game mechanics, storyline arcs, one giant universe based around what we call music mythology. So in music, for example, with the names of the games, there are modes of music, the Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, and so on modes. And for us, Ionia, which is like the root scale, the root mode, that's like the heart of the forest. That's why Ionia here is in a jungly, forested area. And for Eolia, it's the Aeolian mode based on the Aeolian mode. And it's all about sort of a deserty climate, a deserty area. And you are a modist, someone who has musical theory superpowers, and you're fighting a giant storm. So the whole story is about using your musical superpowers to fight back climate change in a way.
Fight back climate change, which actually just completely just reminded me about the fact that you guys also, with the sales of this game, do like a donations based kind of thing where you're like donating to a charity with the sales of the game. Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, absolutely. We're the first VR game to have a public nonprofit partnership, which blows my mind, by the way, and I hope that more people dive in and more studios start to consider this, where for Ionia, we're donating 5% toward the late Steve Irwin's Wildlife Warriors. It is a nonprofit focused on not just helping Australian wildlife, but endangered wildlife all over the world. Everything from rhinos, giraffes, to tigers in India, to North American endangered species as well. So this organization is doing great work, and we are proud to donate 5% of every copy sold to that organization, and have made a relationship and a commitment to that publicly. For Eolia, we wanted to take it a step further and not just donate, but to have our community learn about these nonprofits as well. So at the end of every quarter, we're going to have a poll online and through our social media where we'll have 5 of the leading nonprofits that are relevant to our messaging, so desertification and climate change, and we're going to allow users to vote on which one they want to donate their funding toward, and also to learn more about it through links and shared information. So keep track of ROTU's social media, and you'll be able to help us and learn more about nonprofits and what they're doing in this space.
Well, and I guess if you become a part of the ROTU community, then you'll have an active say in this, right? Like you'll be voting on where these donations are going, and you'll be participating in the game, and like basically being a part of that, which is great. So I would say follow ROTU, join the community, and make your voice heard. Like figure out where these donations are going to go, and help be a part of the change. Which is great.
Yeah. Plus, you can.
Oh, sorry, please.
Oh, I was going to say, so one of the cool things that I really liked about your approach here is that you take the community feedback, not just for things like charity, but for your game. And so for Eolia especially, right? And you are changing and implementing patches into this game like every 2 weeks based on community feedback. And the community always has a lot to say. So that has to be a challenge, right?
Yeah. Are you getting a lot of feedback? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Are you getting a lot of feedback from the community? Are you getting ideas?
Staying busy, for sure. Absolutely. And Skeeva, we're on the same page. That's exactly what I was bringing up. Yes. The community has been very vocal about what they want to see. We've already released a huge patch on Wednesday. So we fixed a lot of concerns. We've added special features. We did a graphical update to an already beautiful game. And right now we are continuing to receive all that feedback. So to your point, Skeeva, if you play Eolia, or you have even an idea what you would want to see in Eolia, not even bugs, but wish lists. Like it would be really cool if fill in the blank. We want to hear that from you, because we're actively just getting this game and taking it to the next level. We want this game to just be a starting point, not a finished version that, hey, take it or leave it, this is how it's going to be. We want the community to help us shape Eolia so that we have an even better game by the end of next year.
And I remember in our buzzed chats at the bar and stuff, and in wherever we were, I can never remember what expo.
The Jupiter Bar,
what city? It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's all
which is a barcade in Washington.
Yeah, we were hanging out at this place. But I remember you talking about how your goal with the game isn't an X amount of sales, or isn't X amount of whatever. It's like getting the reviews, getting like the 5-star reviews, like turning each user into a 5-star reviewer, which I think is a pretty cool approach to be able to take when releasing a game.
Thank you. Isn't that what you want from a developer? Like I play a lot of VR games, right? And I would love that I would want my voice to be heard, and I would love to know that a developer actively takes interest in what I'm saying to an individual. We live in a world where everything's automated and you can't really reach out to an individual as well anymore. And a lot of people feel like what they say just falls on deaf ears. So generally people start to say extreme things, right? But just to be heard and to get a reaction. But I want at ROTU to help people feel like they're heard regardless of what they say, both positive or criticism. And we ultimately, as you point out, would love to work with them and help them on an individual level get to a place where they really appreciate what we're doing in the game we made.
Which is great, and it's a luxury that I would say not every studio can afford, right? Like some studios are very, very reliant on the sales, on the performance of the game, on like making sure that they're marketing it so enough sales get made so they can impress either investors or, so they can keep the company alive, so to speak. And this is when I want to come back to your first VR moment, right? Like who was Jason Parks before he put on the headset, and why are you able to head up this VR studio and basically be in a position to not have to prioritize that kind of thing?
To be completely honest, though, we do have to prioritize those things. So we are a studio. We do have investors. We are trying to grow as a company. But ultimately, I believe forward-facing and the messaging we want needs to come first, right? That the end user should not feel that. Right. But as a studio, we are most certainly growing. We actually have a lot of exciting things in and outside of VR that I'm happy to talk about, and also people can find us and learn more about. But to answer your question, we have a really crazy story on how we got into VR. ROTU Entertainment as a company started back in 2011 when a lot of the founders were still Berklee College of Music students and soon to be graduates. We had created a music video where we brought 90 musicians from 90 different countries together, and they wrote a song of peace. We had students and writers on that project who were citizens of countries that were at war with each other. And they were sitting at the same table writing music. That video went a little viral, and as students, that was amazing to us. We were able to then sell out Symphony Hall with that music. It's a large venue here in Boston. Skiva, you probably know exactly where I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah. So we got to perform the music of that music video on stage, and we did all this cool sort of flash mob where we had the flags of all the countries roll out slowly as we were on stage, like together in peace. And our initial investors were in the front row of that show. And we started a career around creating music videos, documentaries, and a lot of different very interesting forms of entertainment and media, working with and for nonprofits. So we worked, for example, to do flash mobs with AmeriCares, Boston, the city of Boston, MIT, Harvard. We worked with nonprofits like UNICEF to create music videos about relief efforts of devastating earthquakes. And that really led to a more notable project that happened where we worked with the Amazon Aid Foundation, and we were flown to the Peruvian Amazon. So Amir Sherman, who might be in the chat right now, the co-founder of ROTU, and myself, along with a small team, put on backpacks, put on our hats, had generators in one hand, cameras in the other, and walked into the jungle, actually took a boat deep into the jungle, got off, and started filming all of the beautiful majesty around the area, but then also the illegal gold mining and deforestation happening there. Long story short, we got back, we created a music video, a documentary that was seen at COP20 and COP21, the United Nations conferences. And we had this whole thing going. The company was doing well, but we always had this bigger story, this large narrative, right? We were doing large live shows. We did in front of 30,000 people at one point, but we wanted to do more with the IP, right? We had this idea of rhythm of the universe. It was represented in our music videos and our documentaries on stage, and we didn't really know which entertainment medium we wanted to really drive home with this IP. Well, we tried VR, and that's immediately when we knew, before Facebook bought Oculus, before anybody had any true metrics to understand, we knew that this had to be something, right? This was going to succeed. And we rolled the dice, and we're very happy we did.
Wow. Dude.
That's killer.
That is definitely a crazy story. Like,
yep.
How can you be so pure of intention for so long? Like, it's like years ago that you're like making a positive impact and like going into the jungle and like finding like the underlying oneness and unity that exists throughout all of us, and now you're able to use the medium of VR in a way that can help drive this message home and can help create donations and fund these organizations that are doing good things for the planet. Like, that is pretty amazing. Like, why? Like, why be so awesome? Like, how did all of this pure intention start?
I think a lot of it has to do with the collaborative nature of working with international musicians. That was really the heart of it. I was blessed at Berklee College of Music to be surrounded by so many international students and teachers and alumni and associates that were also musicians who we all had this common understanding. And it was, I had a large time in my life where there were no borders, where the idea of different types of people were just blended in a way that I think a lot of people don't necessarily have. And it allowed us to, one, show unity and value in each other, regardless of any type of metric. And two, we then were able to work together with our common talent and started to realize that, hey, since, you're talking with someone in Brazil and they're telling you about how crazy the deforestation's happening right down there and like how they're affected. Then you talk to someone in Turkey and hear about how the devastating earthquakes of 2011 affected them. Then you're hearing about someone in another part of the country with how their people in a way are affected in a negative. And we realized, like, okay, this is a common thread we all share, and let's do something about it with our common talent. So I know that's sort of a vague answer, and there's a lot of other metrics a lot of other reasons why we landed on what we do, but ultimately I think it all started there.
Well, that was a vague question, and I think you did a great job of answing it. I was just like, how are you nice?
Wow. So
it's just like at the end of the day too, it's I think regardless of who you are, there's very few of us who don't, at least deep down inside, want to support and help, in some type of effort to make things better, right? And at the end of the day, that's what we're just trying to publicly express.
Well, that's great.
Well, dang.
We see it. We appreciate it.
Yep.
I think that's a worthwhile endeavor. And if you can just weave some good old humanitarianism or, I don't know, philanthropy or, good service into your video games and everything else that you're doing, that's just like a win-win-win. You know what I mean? I'm into it.
I think it has to do, it's not like we're trying to replace anybody or suggest that everyone should do this. It's just that let's help move the needle so that there's this, in all different forms. I just want to, I feel like diving into our user base, right? VR has a lot more than just gamers who are readily available to the headset, right? You have people who normally would never pick up a controller, right? You have people who had never really played a traditional video game who are trying. And there's a lot of people, and especially if we want this industry to grow, we're going to need to attract people who would never play a video game ultimately, right? Because this medium transcends that. And so we try and tie a little bit of that into what we're doing. And a part of that is the messaging. A part of that is the type of games we make and the value we make. And, we're as a studio, we're doing much more, but for the Rhythm of the Universe series, it'll always have this common value thread.
That's lovely.
Nice.
My imagination just ran wild too with that last sentence. You're like, oh, as a studio, we're doing a million things, but with Rhythm of the Universe, this will be the case. It's like, oh, dang. So what are all those other things? That sounds exciting.
Can't wait to show you. Oh, man. Sneak peek, for example, anybody listening, check out Luminescence on YouTube. It's one of our UE5 shorts. It's one of many little sneak peeks that are coming out.
So it sounds like if we just pay close attention, we might start to see little hints and stuff like that towards what might be coming into the future.
Yes, something I can share publicly is just that one thing our studio realized is that making VR games requires you to learn how to optimize significantly, right? We're working in graphic engines, and you have to learn how to get it all working on a standalone, basically a mobile chipset inside a headset. That allows us, and what we realized is that, this also applies to, virtual art department work, VFX works, other gaming needs, right? And we're realizing that VR actually can help redefine workflows for other industries.
Awesome. Wow, that's interesting. So because you are not just a video game company, right? Your bread and butter was never making games, right? But you tried VR and you're like, oh my God, we have to do this now, right? But like you did, if you want to tell us a little bit more about what ROTU does as far as video production, right? And things, shows and movies you're involved in, and just kind of what that workflow looks like and some of the projects that you're involved in. if you can.
So we're an immersive entertainment studio, so we try and just use cutting edge graphic technologies and blend that with optimization techniques for a series of different forms, right? We are focusing on VR, but I'm trying to think. That's a loaded question. There's a lot of NDAs and things that were under the wraps. So I think what I can say is something that we haven't given a lot of information about, but we have publicly expressed is one game in the work is not going to necessarily be for VR, but it's called Ancient Board Games. And a shout out to Mike Hogue on our team, who has been really just spearheading this, created it, is doing an incredible job. But imagine being able to learn easily and play with other people the top ancient board games of the past 6,000 years.
Wow.
So that is something that we're looking into in terms of videos and things like that. I got to just say, yeah, you got to wait for it.
Yo,
we'll be making announcements in the near
Duggars
future.
K called this out in the chat. Duggars K minutes ago said ancient board games with a question mark at the end of it.
What?
So I don't know what Duggars is doing, but Duggars knows something that we didn't know. That's
And you know, there's it's been sneaking around, so it's good to hear some people are maybe keeping an eye out for it. I can't wait to share what that's going to come out. And you know, one that I can share, and I shared it at PAX West, and I can't believe it wasn't on the forefront of my mind. It's something I spent a lot of time working on. We have an application called Jam Theory. We're creating what's called a harmony program, where we're working to donate headsets and free copies of a music band room. Basically, that's what Jam Theory is. It's a way to learn music theory, and more or less all the tools that you learn in a band room in a metaverse, where a music educator and up to 8 students could be in the same place together. And we are looking to spend the next year distributing that to underprivileged, under-resourced music programs across the country, and be able to build a community, the start of our community, around those who need it most. And then a year from now, we're looking to launch it out of alpha, put it in the beta, and have available to anyone with a PC, phone, or a headset the ability to have this band room and have a lot of fun. We have really cool tools and techniques where the entire game is on a click track, so that when you play music with someone else, you don't have to worry about latency. It just is going to all sort of sync and then humanize, and you're going to be able to create beautiful music together and learn a lot in the app.
Wow, that's so cool. This really touches home for me because, you know, not many people know this, but back in the day, I went to college. I went to UMass Lowell and studied music theory and music business for some time, and toured Berkeley and all these different colleges, and really was really super into everything music. Right, I was in a band, traveled around, did shows, you know, all over at least the state of Massachusetts. And so this really, you know, it's really touching me because I'm also, you know, just everything you're saying, I think it's great. And I love the implementation of music and bringing people together to create. It's just beautiful.
Music is, it's like I don't know, it's like love, you know, it's like one of those things, man, that like makes us human, that no one is unaffected by, you know, like it's just like it's like transcends space and time, you know. It does. It's weird. Yeah. It's super weird. It's amazing.
It is amazing. It is one of the most immersive things that I found pre-VR, right? And when you blend music and virtual reality together, you really get magical things. Hence Beat Saber, you know, rhythm games in general, synth riders, things like that. It's like rhythm in music games are on a different level a lot of the time, and people that don't get video games and don't care about video games want to play these types of games. Yeah. Right. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, but it's especially with the spatial audio of that VR has. I mean, the room for what music and audio, sound in general, has in the VR space is astronomical. What we're going to see in the next 10 years will blow your mind as much as what you actually see.
For real. It's very important. Like for me, sight and sound are two of the most immersive of our of what it kind of means to have this human experience, right? And sound is just as important. That's why, you know, I really like my Valve Index, which I see behind you, because it has the best spatial audio that there is. It sounds incredible. It's my favorite, right? So to me, it's hard to sacrifice. It's hard to sacrifice the audio with, for example, the native Quest audio, right? Which I don't think was ever meant to be the case. There's a headphone jack on there for a reason, right? You should get some good headphones and experience these games, whether music games or not, with real good audio, because it's as much as of being immersed as the visuals to me. Like sound and sight are two very attached and important things. Yeah.
Super powerful.
So
actually, on top of that, I would love to then shout out, please try Eolia and put some headphones on with the game. I love the speakers that come with the Quest 2, but ultimately you get a good pair of headphones on, our game just immediately jumps in quality. We have an 1.5 hour soundtrack available on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you find music. Please check it out. You can also hear the music there. But in the game, and I know Caesar, who's in the chat, our audio director, he would want me to say this, is like, please give our game a chance with some headphones.
Yes.
Our audio team did an incredible job implementing not just the music, but the transitions of the music and how the game sort of flows musically in between different levels and even different areas of the same level. So,
Wear headphones,
love
people.
for everybody to give it a try and let us know what you think with headphones on.
I'm a huge believer in wearing headphones when you're in VR. Like, unless you're putting the headset on for like something out of convenience, like you're just like need to get in and out of something, it's great to use those native speakers, you know, like it's awesome if I need to do a quick demo, whatever. But like if you're going to experience anything in VR, you got to cover your ears. Yeah. Like to your point, Jason, it just elevates the experience, you know, like dramatically, especially considering like to accomplish the illusion of the immersion, we need to hijack our senses, right? So the HMD, the headset hijacks your vision. Like there's no lack of headphones version of looking in VR. Like you have to have that whole thing covering you. Your ears really should not be any different. Yeah. Cover those things up, get rid of the bleed and the light leak for your ears, and immerse yourself in that experience, please. Because you owe it to yourself if you're going to go through the trouble putting a headset on and playing a game. Might as well just put some headphones on.
Very true. And
I would add that too, that headphones are a form of haptic. Right, that's a lot of the vests, a lot of what we use for haptic devices. A lot of that's audio based, right? A lot of those are just basically thick subwoofers that are giving you feedback, you know, that just don't create sound. When you have headphones on, especially a good pair, the exact same thing's happening even while you hear. And so there is, and your ears are very sensitive. This is something, if you go to a music college, they get crazy about this in the upper classes, but ultimately, you know, the audio and what a good pair of headphones can do for you is way more than just the sound. It's the haptics as well.
Mm-hmm. What headphones do you use with your Quest?
These right here, which are Sennheisers.
Sennheiser. I got the pair of headphones that like launched alongside of the Quest 2, like the partnered Logitech G whatevers. That's what I bought, and that's what I use with my Quest 2. To be completely honest, they're not the best fit with the third-party head straps. You know, like I kind of have to like all the way open them up and like wiggle them underneath that third-party head strap. Yeah. But the sound quality is great, and I love them for like a wide use. Like I use them here when I do the show. I use them when I use my Quest. So would I recommend them? Yes. Do I think there's probably a better option out there? Also, yes. So, you know, that's up to you. But I should shout out a few people in the chat. Classy Grandma is here. She's missed the show for a little while now, and we're back, and Classy Grandma is back, and she's just like lighting up the chat with all of her contributions, and I'm loving it. So
what's up, Classy Grandma?
Thanks for being here, Classy Grandma. And you know, Z Storm popped in.
What's up,
earlier, and he's probably gone by now, right? Still here, Z? Tell us, are you okay? And then Soul BC popped in, and
so Soul?
Yeah, it's good to see you guys, and Lixnix too.
Cool, awesome. Yeah. Thank you all for coming. It means so much to have you here with us.
So you know, we're talking about like VR, kind of like, you know, pulling in people who weren't traditionally gamers, and you know, providing opportunity to people to enjoy experiences that maybe weren't gamers before. Were you a gamer before, Jason?
Yes. In fact, my first words were I think little blue balls as a small child playing Sonic on the Sega Genesis. So like Sonic. I have been a gamer since my first memories are games, right?
Nice.
Little blue balls.
Little blue
wait
balls.
A second. So were you playing Sonic 3D Blast?
I'm describing Sonic. If anybody doesn't understand what I'm trying to say,
you were describing Sonic. Were you playing Sonic 1, Sonic 2? It sounds to me like you're playing Sonic 3D Blast.
Sonic, right? Like this was This is when it just was the Sega Genesis. It was probably the game that came with the Genesis, right? Had nothing else, and I just probably could barely get past what was it? The Green Zone? What's the first zone?
Green Hill.
Green Hill. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Nice.
Well, that's great.
You know what it was too? Zelda Ocarina of Time that really sunk it in for me. And that might be cliche, and everyone says that, but I just remember that game being so a defining moment in I think back into my history, and I think back into my memories, and I remember the times I spent playing Ocarina of Time better than I remember family members, right? Almost anything else. It defined and made me really, because it was like when we were able to then get that dimensional ability to traverse a 3D space, that was really what got me.
Yeah, and that was Mario 64. I mean, I played Ocarina too, but Mario 64, when I can still remember when someone first gave me like unlimited access to not unlimited, like, hey, you want to play this on Nintendo 64? Here's the controller. There you go. I remember that moment to this day. It was so crazy to be able to move around 3D. Like, it blew my mind.
Absolutely. It's funny, we were just talking right before the show about Ocarina of Time and how like I have such nostalgic, amazing memories of that game, how you more recently just went through that game from start to finish. And it's funny because there are similarities between Ocarina of Time and Eolia that I've picked up on, like being able to get that flute and actually be able to play it with finger tracking in VR to play the songs that are kind of laid out in your journal, almost like they were in Ocarina of Time. And then you can play them, things happen, magical things happen. Very, very, I can see the inspiration.
Totally. There. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. We may be having an internet glitch here and losing Jason. Let's see if we can get him back.
I don't want to lose Jason.
Oh, well, I think he's...
Am I back?
Yep, there you are. You are. You're back with us.
Okay, good. There's a storm outside here in Mass, so I'm thinking, hoping there isn't like a power issue. I think we're good. Yep. I heard that exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. If people are fans of those like 90s and early 2000 games, a lot of similarities will be found in Eolia. Like you mentioned, we have hand tracking, flute playing, even things where it takes you throughout the game, you find scrolls. I think up to 20 or something of them, and each scroll gives you everything from being able to fast travel back to different areas of the game, to be able to turn into like an omnipotent flashlight and for a period of time be able to light up dark hallways and areas which are required to find very specific collectibles in the game. Also to the ability to double jump, to hover, to ultimately utilize a bunch of locomotion systems in like unique, crazy ways. Give yourself what feels like superpowers. And I would love to point out, too, if anybody in the chat, if anybody remembers Aladdin for the Sega Genesis, and I think we talked about this, too, right? Here's a pro tip if you're playing Eolia. If you're in Kudum Outpost, right, which is going to be like the main area that you find, it's like the city area that you then traverse to the different towers and the different areas of the game. This main area has a bunch of tents or like overhangs, very similar to what you would have in Aladdin. And when you jump on them, you basically get to have like a hyper jump. And if you're really good at jumping onto them, you might be able to find some places that you normally would not be able to get to otherwise. So keep that in mind if you're really trying to get all 26 collectibles.
All those years of platforming experience in Aladdin are finally going to pay off when you play Eolia and start jumping on the tapestries. So use your old skills, people.
Absolutely. So a couple things I want to address about this game, and then I would actually like to go back for a minute on the first game in the series. But This game, to me, when I put on the headset, I had a hard time believing I was in a Quest 2. Like, I was really taken back by the graphical fidelity of this game on a mobile chipset and a mobile VR headset. And I was floored. I was like, wait a minute, is this a PC VR thing? Is there a PC over here? But there wasn't. And I was like really floored. I don't know how your team pulled off some of the effects that they did. You know, I'm like riding on this like little elephant thing, right? I'm like whipping the reins in this huge canyon, in an enormous canyon, right? And like there's tornadoes that are chasing me down, and I'm like running for my life on this thing, trying to avoid these things. You know, there are just some moments that you get in this game from the scale, from the immersion of using hand tracking to do some of these things. So I'd like to hear a little bit about some of the challenges or how you kind of tackled making a game that looks like this in the Quest.
Well, shout out to the ROTU tech team, guys. Look at that.
Heck yeah.
Look at that for an endorsement. Good job.
Charles says had to sacrifice some stuff.
So I would preface that with the fact that it's even harder because it's not just the Quest 2 that we have to fight in terms of performance with the GPU and CPU utilization. It's also the hand tracking, because something that I probably only developers would really feel as a pain point is that when you're developing for hand tracking, you drop the level of CPU and GPU, especially GPU utilization, you're allowed to use in your game. So meaning that if I'm using hand tracking, I have less power to make everything you see around you make everything around you, right? So as a developer, we have to then even create more optimization techniques to get it as big and beautiful as it is. So if you grab controllers, you instantly have a lot more power. And the reason why is that, you know, you can imagine you have your hands. It always has to know where your fingers are. If you're moving them 100% and moving your hands everywhere, it just needs a lot of overhead to make sure it can handle that. On top of that, we have to make sure that we're even more optimized than most games, because once you start to get even teetering on dipping below 72 frames per second, you realize before you're ever even dipping frame rate, your hands start messing up. So we have to make sure the game is like extremely performant everywhere. That being said, the tech team, and shout out to the, this is obviously, of course, the art team as well, working together to, one, take a vision that was, before it was ever a VR game, right? It was concept art. It was this idea. A lot of what the game ended up being was thought about back in 2014, before we ever even knew what VR was, right? When we were creating this idea of Rhythm of the Universe. Aeolia was a place. It had, like the messaging was put in place. So we were more or less developing a game around an internal IP that is well established for us. And so a lot of that had to do with large open areas. And that's what we wanted to try and accomplish. Is so many VR games, especially the hand tracking ones, you're inside, right? You're in narrow areas. Makes sense. As a developer, I want to turn corners all the time so that I can then unload everything that happened behind me and load everything that's in front of me in little tiny tidbits. So what we did, though, was worked on knowing what our limitations were, what are the max and min, and then just extremely optimizing every asset we bring in and making sure that we have like beautiful skyboxes, beautiful large environments, and then trick you basically into realizing and making you feel like at all times you have this giant open area in which you can explore, but ultimately being able to optimize that so that we can push the graphical quality of the game at any given time. So I know that was sort of a vague brush stroke of how we accomplished it. And if anybody's interested in learning more, please reach out to us on Discord. My dev team would love to answer these questions. But ultimately, yeah, we took into a lot of care and optimization. That was the majority of our development, was making sure that was possible.
It does look good.
It really does.
It looks really good.
It really does. It's up there for me with like I think Red Matter might show the ultimate of what the Quest is capable of, right? But this is up there for me. I've never really been that immersed in a Quest, because it's like playing a Game Boy compared to a Nintendo usually with the Quest, right? It's it's the handheld version. You're not getting what you would typically out of a PC or whatever. But this game, it really immersed me because of the grandeur of the whole thing, how large and epic everything was, and how the textures looked, and things happening in the environment. So it was very much. It's very, very cool. One thing I do think is awesome too is, first of all, the hand tracking. That's one of the first thing that caught my attention about this game, because you have a full locomotion system where you can go through this whole game from beginning to end with hand tracking. So I'm going through this game, and you do, because of the limitations of the Quest, you can't have your hands down here doing things, right? You have to be holding them up. The Quest has to be able to see your hands and identify where all your fingers are. So you're playing a lot of the game like this. So after a little while, sometimes your arms get tired, right? But the cool thing is, you can just reach down, grab your controllers, instant transfer. All of a sudden, you've got controllers. You can hold them down here. You can take a breath, and you can start using the thumbsticks. And it works exactly the same. And you're having a fantastic experience. So you could go through this with controllers, with hand tracking, or a mix of the two of when you feel like using either one of these things, which was really cool to see those seamless transitions and being able to go back and forth for multiple different play styles.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
I would love to note there too, and this is a shout out again to Mike Hogue, our lead developer and game director. He created, or I should say, added on to the existing capabilities of the hand tracking for Meta. And what he did was allowed you, and you check out most VR games, right? You grab an object, or let's say I'm climbing, or I have something in my hand. If you look away, your hand disappears, right?
Yeah.
You would normally drop that item, right? And a lot of other situations like that, where the moment you lose tracking, the hand's as if it never was. Well, in our game, you'll notice you can climb, and you'll be like, 40 feet up, holding onto a rail. You'll look behind you, and when you come back, you're still holding. So we were able to create, and I should say Mike was able to create, the ability to remember and to sort of guesstimate what the user would continue to do, whatnot. What would be the next action, or what would be the continued action at any given time, allowing, I believe, Aolia to be one of the first games to sort of be able to get away from having to 100% keep your hands in front of your face at all times. There's many times in our game where, even using locomotion system, right, we have this sort of okay pinch kind of ability to drive forward. If this gets low, and it even gets too low, you might in some cases continue to drive forward even though you feel like your hand is completely out of view. Of course, it's not perfect, because hand tracking is not perfect, but we're working on trying to make that as good as possible for what it is. And yes, of course, hand tracking, controllers are second schema. That is a really cool part of the fact that, as you mentioned, you just pick them up, good to go. Yeah,
I thought that was super cool. Because just for that simple fact that your arms get tired holding them up in front of your face. You know what I mean? But it's really cool. It's a really cool immersive way, and just being able to then switch the controllers and switch back and just play it how you feel like playing it at that given time, which is really cool.
Classy Grandma is just showing us just how classy she is with a $20 super chat. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Classy Grandma.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Welcome back. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you.
Thanks, Classy Grandma.
Thank you so
great
much.
to have you here in the Between Realities community.
Heck yeah.
And don't worry, we're not going to waste these $20. Okay?
Nope.
We're going to put them to good use.
Good use.
Making sure that this show continues to be awesome. And
Heck yeah.
we can keep doing stuff.
That's what's up.
I already have plans to spend hundreds of dollars on a new mixer so we can add more microphones to it. So.
Yeah, we need to get more in-guest.
Yes.
Yeah, in-studio guests.
Yes,
so,
because we just did our season premiere last week. If you haven't caught it, go back and watch it, because there was a surprise that we didn't tell anybody, where we had Rebecca, a.k.a. QUIKCOSPLAY, here live in the flesh. She was driving through Arizona, boom, stopped into our studio, and we did an episode where we had her on, just like, didn't announce it, just kind of like a fun surprise. But because of our setup here, I was doing this with her, throwing the microphone back like that, and it's just not ideal. Like, we want to be able to have maybe 4 or 5 microphones up here if we want. So
yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Anyway, that'll go towards hopefully getting us a new mixer, right? As well as Reese's and Rezel's awesome and very generous donation earlier.
Yep, we're going to continue to do better. So
Oh, sorry. I was saying we got to play the sound for Classy Grandma. She wants the sound effect.
Oh, she wants the cricket? Oh,
The crickets.
oh, can you guys play the sound effects? Yeah, I mean, I can blast you with air horns all day long. But, I mean, you know, if you want the cricket beatbox, we can do that too.
Encore from last week.
Yeah, you know, whatever you want. Listen, if you donate on Between Realities, we'll dance and sing, and we'll be your.
He will. Oh man, that's funny. So
Wow.
I feel like we should go take a few steps back here and kind of go back to pre-Eolia, because I really like Eolia a lot. I think there's a lot of awesome things with this game, and I love that it continues to get better, because I did experience a little bit of jank. Some of it was related to hand tracking, but some of it not. But the good thing is, like, I feel like a couple days after I was like, oh, it would be cool if that changed, it got fixed. Right? And that's a huge thing. Being able to go in and go, hey, there's this thing, didn't work quite right. And then people listen to you and actually implement changes. I think that's super sick. So I am very, very interested to see how this game evolves and how it gets better and the mechanics get better because of the ability of ROTU to listen to people and really make this a game that kind of is what the people want it to be, right? So I look forward to the evolution of this title. But your games haven't always been as huge as Eolia is, because Eolia takes like 7-8 hours to get through, depending on how fast you can solve some of the puzzles, right?
I think the fastest speed run we've seen is about 3.5 hours.
Wow.
And normally people are playing in 7.
So I would think you would have to have been through this game before to know what the solutions to some of these puzzles are before you can just go in and whip through it, because there's a few times already where I'm sitting there and I got to scratch my head and I got to really think about it and I got to figure out, what do they want me to do here to solve this puzzle? They're a little complicated. To me, this game is not an easy game. This isn't like a game you're going to go in and just breeze through it, right? Like, you got to think and you have to try to figure out how to solve these things, where to go, like listen to clues about where you need to go back to acquire certain things to bring back. And you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like super easy, right? But that's good. I like a challenge. I'm a gamer, right? So that's fantastic. Yeah.
Opposite of the first game.
Right. But so you started with a game called Ionia, which is very similar sounding. Right, and this was one of the, at the time and still almost to this day, this game is extremely beautiful. Like, this is where this game shines, is in its visuals. Like, this is some, might I say, Half-Life Alyx looking visuals. It's stunning. You go in there and you're floored by what you were able to accomplish visually. You know, the game. Other than that, you know, it's not very long. You know, you can get through it in like 45 minutes, something like that. And some of the mechanics leave some to be desired.
Look at him dance around this.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to be nice
like
too.
a finessing swordsman.
Yes.
Got me a little deeper.
The fact of the matter is, you made a cool looking game. You took a stab at doing something epic in VR, and maybe you didn't hit the mark like you wanted to, but then you came out and you continued on and you came out with a second game that nailed the visuals on a mobile platform, not just on PC VR, and you nailed a lot of the gameplay stuff, which is huge, because in the first title, maybe that wasn't so, but it was visually beautiful and stunning, and I'm sure it was a huge learning experience for everyone in the studio. It's not like you guys have been doing this for 50 years, and you're like, oh, okay, you know, this is all we have to do, right? Like, what were some of the challenges that you faced when creating this first VR game and trying to figure out the mechanics, how to drive a story, how to get graphics like this into VR? Because you can't just create graphics like this at 30 frames a second. This stuff has to look this beautiful and like run at like 90 frames a second, right? Yeah. Like, this is very challenging. So yeah, I'm interested to hear what some of your challenges were with this, with your first game, Eonia.
Ionia.
Ionia. Thank you.
I mean, yeah, it's Ionia, Eolia. Most people would start to blend the two.
Yeah.
And it's okay. They're in the same saga. They're in the same franchise. And they're the same universe. Even though you can play them completely separate, you do not have to play one game to know the other. And I would like to, comment on that point about, hey, maybe some of the mechanics were, and some of the gameplay was like just lacking, right? Well, that was quite honestly on purpose. Like the whole point of Ionia is that grandmother, right?
Yeah.
That before the pandemic, I had oh man, what was her name? Agatha. I was going to retirement homes and filming people in retirement homes playing our game to show that this is a game for everyone. It was originally made for location-based entertainment. We were looking at cruise ships. We were looking at mom and pop LBEs across the country, and we wanted to create something where when you walk in, you might have never played VR before, you've never played a game before, you're a little hesitant to do so, and there are a very limited amount of games than you could actually want or would want to play, right? Most would be too intense for you, and I feel that, and still do, that a large majority of people getting into the VR space aren't traditional gamers who want to play Resident Evil. And this is just the case, but there is a lot less content for them. Right? These are people that don't even know how to leave a review. They don't even know how to really turn the headset on, but they're using this stuff, right? They're being taught, they're being given it. So Ionia was made originally for that location-based need. Well, we all dealt with something that happened a couple years ago, and we then said, hey, let's take this extremely beautiful game, to your point, which was the number one focus. When I put on a headset, especially a PC VR headset, I want to see the most beautiful thing that I want to get my mind blown, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's most certainly done with the audio and the visuals. Not so much with the game mechanics. That's something to be learned. That's something to be sharpened over time through your desire to play games, right? And get better at them. So the idea is, let's make something akin to the story living genre, akin to Vader Immortal series, where you have simple mechanics that take you on the amount of time in which someone generally spends in VR, which is 45 minutes. Even though the game, everyone says 45 minutes. The game is an hour and to an hour 30. So it's like, I know it's short, but hey, the first Vader Immortal was 36 minutes.
Yeah.
But had the dojo. So,
dude, Vader Immortal gave me the worst VR blue balls I've ever had. Like right at the end of that, I couldn't believe they were ending it there. I was like, what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I was just
And to your point, Jason, so I do a lot of work in location-based VR and location-based entertainment. And, with Vertigo and Springboard, their arcade management platform and licensing platform, we have free roam titles that are very, they're great games, but they're only like 20-30 minutes, right? Because you can't go in location-based VR and have someone in there for 4 hours. You're wearing like backpack PCs, you got like all this gear on, and you can't do that. So you have to make visually stunning games that only last a certain amount of time, and that is a very specific problem to location-based VR, because you got to move people through, right? Or you're just not going to make any money. Right. Yeah. So I do get that. But a lot of people out there that reviewed this and played this game had no idea. They had no idea that that's what this was intended for, and that's what this was originally envisioned for. So it's interesting to get to put this out there so people maybe have a better idea of what this game was originally meant to be.
So I know I sort of, now that I'm realizing it, that I had a moment to stop talking, I ranted about about like how we delivered and what we delivered, but I never really even answered your question. Like to that, right? Is the studio could have done a lot better job, myself included, could have done a better job expressing what the game was. One thing that we were, and from our earlier conversation, we started making also cinematic trailers too, because we had a bigger story than just a VR game. So we had these beautiful trailers, and we had some people thinking we had like a 10-hour AAA looking game, when we're making these these videos in-house, and we're making this game in-house. It's our first VR game. So yeah, We've actually changed that up, though, since the launch a little under a year ago. And for example, we're doing great where we're donating copies to children's hospitals, to places where VR headsets are used by groups. Right. And ultimately, we're starting to create a community around exactly who I was expressing earlier by taking it to them. Right. And offering it to them and starting to license in very creative ways. So IONIA is being picked up in a way that I think most VR games don't even realize is an opportunity. That being said, back to what it was. Exactly. We're focused on creating just a beautiful story that you basically linearly walk through, and I think we really accomplished that. I'm very proud of IONIA. I still love IONIA. It's like it's my baby.
That's awesome. That's cool. And I'm really happy that we got to talk about where this game is originally intended to be, right? And that when you're running a business and things happen, especially on a global scale like that pandemic, right? You have to pivot and shift and try to recoup some production costs, put things out there, release things maybe to the public. Maybe you never intended on this being a game for everyone, for your typical gamer to play. But what else are you going to do? You're just going to sit on the game for who knows how long, right? So it's just an interesting story. I remember you telling this story when we were chatting at PAX, and I had no idea. No idea. So that's interesting. I thought that was great. So did you learn a lot about how to incorporate more game mechanics into a visually stunning game and make a richer, more robust experience?
Oh yes, IONIA was a stepping stone for my team. It basically sharpened our teeth, and then a lot of people don't know. I don't even think I shared it yet, but we made Eolia in a year. In about 1 year.
Dang.
We started production this time last year, maybe a little more than a year, maybe 13, 14 months. And the reason we were able to make what we did in such a short period of time was everything, as you pointed out, that we learned in IONIA. And then also importantly, porting was something we learned a lot about too, where we're working on bringing the port of IONIA on Quest and PlayStation up to a level that's closer to what the PC version is. But before we did that, we wanted this new offering, this Eolia, to be available as well. And we then made sure that we learned even more in the development of Eolia to create what you now see, right? Is this extremely large, beautiful, open world look and feel inside a Quest headset. Without IONIA, we would have never been able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's exciting, and we're certainly happy that things are going well. I think a lot of people, maybe based on their experiences with IONIA, expecting some big grand adventure and not getting it, maybe didn't have the highest of expectations for Eolia. And I think Eolia has really taken a lot of people by surprise. A lot of people tried the game out and were like, whoa, okay, now we're talking, you know what I mean? So from all of the anecdotal stuff that I hear, just from within the community, it really does seem like it's being received very well, and I think that that's amazing. So congrats to you and your team for that.
Thank you. Yeah, shout out to the team for that as well. I can't really take this credit. It all goes to the ROTU dev team. They're incredible, and what they're doing really matters. And I can't wait to show what we have planned. For example, we mentioned Vader Immortal, right? All three are roughly the same game, right? They're not dramatically different from each other, but for us and our series with Rhythm of the Universe, which isn't the only games we're making, but for the series, our next one, right, is most likely going to be called Lydia, and it's going to be dramatically different than what IONIA and Eolia is. We want each game in this series to be so completely different that you would never believe that it is, that is part of a series or a saga, right? Whereas IONIA, like we mentioned, for first-time VR users, casual VR users, people who are maybe afraid of putting the headset on, for your grandmothers, for those who don't play games, you have Eolia, which is arguably pushing the boundaries of what hand tracking can do, and is one of the first adventure puzzle games with hand tracking, and is made for gamers, like people who are willing to sit there and play the game over a period of days or weeks to accomplish and finish it. The next one, I don't want to announce anything or make anything public, but imagine all of the new things and the social abilities of VR and what that could look like in our series and in our universe. We're most certainly going to tackle them.
Well, this
was
yeah.
juicy, wasn't
That
it?
was juicy. That was juicy because as we have seen just this week, there are so many new and amazing things coming to VR. There's all kinds of new hardware coming out that's going to be pushing the limits of what we know VR can do. Right? We have. We just recently had a major leak for the Meta Quest Pro.
Yep.
Right, which is a new. A new headset that will have a dramatically different price point than the Quest, right? But I mean, it's slightly more powerful, better screens, eye tracking to be able to drive that processor more and be able to give better experiences. There's the PlayStation VR 2 that we have seen all kinds of new videos that just came out just the other day of people finally being able to try this headset and just being blown away by what these headsets are capable of. So it's exciting to see a studio that is able to push visual boundaries of the current hardware and what might be accomplished in some of these future headsets that are improving all the time. So it's
another
really cool.
thing that's in the news right now that I want to touch on before we have to wrap up the show that I just personally am very, very excited about is, well, let me start by saying that, like, Jason, I think you and I are pretty close to some of the same like memories of nostalgia with the games that we played, like you're like touching on Sega and N64. Me too, for sure. We're probably pretty close in age. I might be maybe a little bit older than you, potentially. I don't know. But like, I played the NES and like I have like lots of like fond memories of that. There is an era of PC gaming that I kind of missed as a young gamer, right? And this guy did not, right? So anyone like Skiva out there who played Half-Life 2 thinks of Half-Life 2 like we're talking about Ocarina of Time. Like they're saying like that was the game that just like changed things. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I wasn't there to play it, so I wasn't able to create those memories. But as of today, available on Steam proper is the Half-Life 2 VR mod. So now we can play Half-Life 2 completely in virtual reality. And I am so excited to do this because I've never played Half-Life 2. I don't have all of those memories that you have. And now I don't need to do it on like some like super old like version of the game. Like I can go inside and create those memories in VR and have all of the interactions be brand new to me and the whole story be brand new to me. And I am so stoked.
There are 2, maybe 3 IPs that shaped almost my life and the person I became today and how much I adore video games and have let them infiltrate and take over almost all of my life. That's Super Mario, all the Mario stuff from Nintendo, and the Half-Life series. I have played all the Mario stuff and all of the Half-Life games like on release day and just had the most amazing time. And Half-Life 2, in my mind, is maybe one of the greatest video games ever made. I mean,
and so other many minds, like so many people echo that.
So to be able to go in now and play what I have played over and over and over and over again for all of these years and be in this world is I am so excited. I can't even tell you. And I don't have over the next couple days much time to dive into this, but next week I am planning on carving out time, and people that see me all the time aren't going to see me.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I love you all, but bye.
So do you feel me, Jason? Have you heard about Half-Life? There's no way that you played Half-Life on PC.
Oh, I mean, what do you think I'm doing right after this podcast? It's absolutely. I can't wait. I'm sort of in the same boat. Like, I can maybe put an hour or two this weekend, maybe a little more, probably a little more. But the moment I get a little free time, I'm diving in. I'm diving in hard. I can't wait. I'm in the same boat. I've never played it.
Right.
It was not on my radar.
Wow.
When it came out. So this is the chance.
Dude,
wow.
I'm gonna be hitting you up, and we can bounce off of each other. Like, dude, so this thing, and you're gonna be like, yeah, man.
This is the game that made the expectations of Half-Life Alyx so out of control, right? Because when you look at Half-Life Alyx, it's visually stunning. It's amazing. It's taken the mechanics of virtual reality and it's brought them to a new level, but it does not have the depth that Half-Life 2 has. Right. I mean, this game touches on so many different things, has created, and perfected a genre of gaming. Yeah. And not many games get to say that. Right. And like this game is just going to be, I'm just so stoked.
I'm super stoked. I'm super excited. Yeah. I'm really very much looking forward to this. And then there's one other thing that I want to bring up because we got to wrap this up soon, but I did want to bring up an opportunity for you guys to talk a little bit about your Neos demo that Skiva brought you through. So now every single week our audience is forced to listen to Skiva talk about Neos and how amazing it is and all this stuff. Tell us what do you see now why he continues to bring it up, or what was your experience like?
Oh, Skiva, you made me a believer. I cannot believe that Neos was not on my radar for so long. How insane! When you showed me the there's so many of them, but what do we even call it? The educational one.
The universe.
We were changing scale.
The universe. Right? So the universe takes you from the absolute smallest thing that humanity knows of and brings you all the way through to the largest observable thing that we know of in one experience. And it's just nuts. So
and the fact that was done inside Neos and that it was the exact representation of imagination I've had about where VR can go. And it's just sitting here. And it's not something that a company made for $1.5 million. It was something someone did because it's Tuesday. It was amazing. and that then being the case for just a limitless amount of, it is Ready Player One. It is the metaverse, the closest thing we have to it. And I see a future where once they get the UI down and they can split and they can really create like an entry point where the common person could have a perfect onboarding experience, but then also just go even crazier with the development tools and allow it basically to be a Unity or Unreal integration and allow just like the most cutting edge capabilities. For example, maybe you can even like put in some optimization techniques like space warp or something like that into the application, or into a level, right, before you even start building. And be able to get this to a standalone wireless headset level quality, right? And have it be like Horizons on steroids. I mean, it is phenomenal. It is the best metaverse I've ever seen. I could not give it, and the duck, I don't want to say what it said. I don't want to give it away, but the duck. That's all I got to say. There was a duck, and I loved it. It's what I want in my life.
Oh, my God. That's funny. It's funny to me because I am a person who's devoted my life to virtual reality because this technology has changed my life. It's changed everything about it, from how I work to how I socialize to how I play to how I form relationships and meet up. Like, it's changed everything in my life. And for me to say that Neos is the best thing in VR and not have anyone that has any kind of like anyone that trusts in anything I say not immediately dive in there, like, it's nuts. I don't know why that isn't the biggest thing. And I feel like the problem is obviously the onboarding, that you go in and you don't immediately see the potential of this platform. Like, that's why I spend so much of my free time grabbing people and bringing them in and showing them things, because you can't just see what it is when you just look at it and you're in there by yourself and you're like, oh, this is VR chat with a complicated menu. It's not. It is your full imagination completely realized. Anything that you can think of, anything that you want to do is fully accomplishable without even taking the headset off, which is mind-numbing to me that this isn't the biggest thing ever
Can I tell you why? You already know. Why?
Onboarding and UI.
Nope. Nope. Do you know why, Jason?
Onboarding and UI.
Nope. It's because it's not available on the standalone devices.
Yeah, true.
It's because it's PC only.
Yeah.
That is why.
I gotta say, sales for regular, our games and stuff like that, they're just so astronomically more leaning toward, standalone headsets.
Yeah, this is true.
Good point.
Yeah,
good point.
that is it. Once it goes to the Quest, it's over.
Yeah, and this is, Neos is one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to the future of mobile VR accelerating and getting better and better and more accessible and cheaper and higher performance and when and it's going to take a while, right? When we looked at the Nintendo compared to what our computers could do, it was like, okay, for the people who could afford a computer back then, it was vastly different. It was so much better, but the Nintendo was accessible, right? It was something that everyone could use, right? And it's the same with VR. It took a very long time for consoles to get to PC level like they did with the PS5. But it happened, and eventually mobile headsets will eventually get to the point where PCs are, and things like Neos will run at an affordable price with very little effort, not having to tether to a computer. And maybe that future is through VR rendering and cloud computing. I don't know, but eventually we'll get there, and something like Neos will prevail. I don't know. Hopefully Neos lasts that long.
I know.
I know. But it is by far the most impressive thing I've ever seen in VR. So I'm glad
you're building in it.
What's that?
Are we allowed to mention what you're building in it?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, Mario. I mean, so for the who's ever listening, I mean, it is a straight up recreation of Mario Kart. It was incredible. I mean, you got those levels down. I was very impressed. I mean, I was thinking like you maybe through the inspiration of it created something in Neos. I mean, it is straight up like you took the same assets from the original Mario Karts and straight up brought them in. I mean, it was so cool.
Now
very classic.
A lot of this credit goes to Z-Storm, right? And there were a lot of people involved. Yeah, that are making this possible, but we aren't just like sucking the game over from Nintendo, right? We're pulling in the assets, some of the assets, not all of them because they're not all available, but then they're just these plain, boring-looking white tracks, right? From there, we got to texture them, we have to animate everything, we have to recreate like game mechanics from nothing, right? So this is it's very challenging. And for it to ultimately, I know it will eventually be taken down by Nintendo if we create content around it that goes, for a lot of people to see. It would be an honor to get that DMCA letter from Nintendo. And that's kind of how we're thinking about it, right? Because there's no way. It is like, it's really, really close. And we've so far brought in 21 maps and they're all instant load.
That's insane.
Like you walk through a portal, you are instantly in the world. There's no load times and you're ready to race. We just brought in and created the F-Zero maps that are in Mario Kart 8, where the course goes sideways, upside down, and we had to build a gravity system that doesn't just flip gravity, right? Because the track goes everywhere in every direction. So we had to make it so the gravity sticks to the course, which was a very interesting. This is all very much a learning experience, and one of the reasons why we're doing this is to really dive deep into the platform that we love as well, even if we're ripping off a known IP, but it's because we love Mario Kart. We love Neos, and we want to learn and develop in there and build together as a community. We're all in there. Like a lot of times it's me and Z-Storm, and then CreeperBetty and Short Stack VR and Tribe, Grey Wolf, and we all just go in there and we're hanging out together while we're building this stuff. Yeah. And we're all clicking on things, adding drivers to things, animating things, and it's fun. We're doing it as friends, hanging out, and like, how awesome is that? We're not sitting at our individual computers on Unity all by ourselves, right? We are collaboratively working on these things, and it is incredible.
People aren't catching that inside VR.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
It is nuts.
And we want to make something that has pull from the masses, that will get the masses' attention to look at this platform that maybe they never looked at before. Right, and that might be a known IP, so we'll see, and really get people to like take a chance on it. And
did you see the Between Realities ship, Jason?
Oh yeah, of course. I got to go all through it. All the pictures you guys have on the walls. Oh, it was incredible. I mean, so again, for people listening, the ship that you're watching that you're seeing right now, it fully rendered. You can go to it. You can fight other spaceships at the front helm of it. There's a DJ system there that'll throw the craziest rave party you've ever seen. It's insane. Very cool.
Well, we're cool. Very happy that you finally had Skiva give you the Skiva experience in Neos, and you kind of got to see what's going on there. We are going to pull the plug on the show, but I do want to just one last time kind of just bounce the ball right back into your court, Jason. Is there anything that's like really important that you wanted to mention that we haven't had a chance to get to yet? Anything that you want to bring up kind of before we part ways?
I just to reiterate for anybody who's listening who has not done so yet, please give Eolia a try. I would love to have you play it, test it, give us feedback, check out our Discord, check us out at info@rotu.com. Please write to us, let us know what you thought. Really, any comments you want, any ideas you have, share it with us. And also check out, at ROTU VR. That's our Twitter, that's our Facebook, that's our social media username. And ultimately, please join our community. What we want is to grow and have a community large enough to really make an impact and a difference, and to show that the types of games we make are popular, are something that can allow other studios to start thinking about making themselves, and can ultimately maybe inspire other studios to donate to nonprofits and to organizations that are doing good, and to ultimately create a vein of VR that is VR for good in a way that we want to see it be. So I'd say that would be my little extra 10 cents there. And check out rotu.com for more info, more things about what we're doing in virtual production and VFX art, as well as future games. And please reach out to me at Jason Parks VR on any platform.
Jason Parks from ROTU Entertainment. Dude, we are big fans of yours. Thank you so much for being so awesome and for joining us on the show today. It really has been a pleasure.
Same. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Everyone in chat, say goodbye to Jason Parks from ROTU Entertainment. Bye, Jason Parks from ROTU Entertainment. Bye. And with that, he is gone. See you later. Never to be seen again.
Well, right on. That was fun. It was fun chilling with such a talented dev that has such a cool team of devoted VR people that and making an impact on the industry. It's really cool.
For sure.
It's super fun.
And it feels good to be back into the normal flow between realities too.
It does.
It really does. Premiere episode was great, but it was a little weird, right? I shouldn't say weird, but it was unique in the way that we had Silva here, or Quick Cosplay here with us, and like not engaging in the same kind of way that we normally do. So here we are, like back in the flow between realities, season 6, like boom, Boom. Yeah, boom. VR Content Creator 2022 VR Awards finalists.
Boom.
Yeah. Let's not forget about that.
Well, awesome, man. I cannot wait already for next week. Next week, we will have Tim Bettridge, who is someone we met at VRTO in Toronto that is doing really cool things, with different, metaverse technologies, and is, making a cool impact on VR. Just like all of the amazing people that we have here on the Between Realities.
Yeah, we're not going to dive into it before we end the show here, but the stuff that this guy was showing off at VRTO had us like borderline speechless. Like he's really got some big ideas when it comes to the social platforms that we'll be experiencing in VR and how to incorporate AI into some of these things. And it's really, really interesting. So we're very excited to have him on the show.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. It will be a good time.
Yes,
but for now, I guess it's time to go.
Is it really just like that? We're gonna end. We're gonna end this thing.
I suppose.
Okay, well, we're going to end it. Thank you all for joining us here on the live show. CreeperBetty VR and VR with Jasmine and Z-Storm VR and Charles Logan from the ROTU team and QUIKCOSPLAY, who managed to be in here chilling even though they're driving across the country, and Roy Boy and Anna and Snow Toad and Soul BC and Duggars K. Oh, deliriemVR has been here just kind of chilling and lurking, and Dark Angel, who we saw come in earlier. Thank you all. And Classy Grandma, who had to leave earlier. Yeah, thank you all so much. You know, Rezel and Reese with their super chats earlier. That was huge and very much appreciated. Thank you for being here. And we will see you a week from now with Tim Bettridge as our amazing guest.
All right. Well,
deuces.
Peace. Bye-bye.